everyone, it's Mariah from Wildwood Farm. I wanted to show you how I start seeds indoors in the spring. It's March, it means it's time to start tomatoes. I use this method for starting everything from onions, peppers, tomatoes, cucumbers, squash, lettuce, arugula, beets. So I start with a plastic pot. I like plastic because I can sterilize it every year and reuse it. I use a seed starting medium. Mine has nutrients in it, like worm casting, so I don't need to fertilize as early. If yours doesn't, you may want to fertilize earlier when they're seedlings. So I fill the pot, tap down gently, because the soil will sink when it gets wet, and then put that fluffy bit right back on top and level it off. Now you have a pot that's full, been condensed a little bit, but light and fluffy right at the top where you want that seed to be. So now I'm going to take my seeds. I'm planting black cherry today. I take my seed and I'm using tweezers because I can place it exactly where I want it. So I'm planting the seed. In this case, it's about 1 centimeter, and I'm closing that hole and pushing it down. What you want to do is place the seed about 3 seeds deep. So if this is your seed, 1, 2, 3, that's where the seed's going to be on average. So bigger seeds, a bit deeper, smaller seeds, not quite as deep. So you pat this down. Now I'm going to sprinkle cinnamon on top. Cinnamon is an antifungal, antimicrobial. In this case, your seedlings are young, they're tender, you want to nurture them, you want to give them really good environment. This will help. This helps prevent damping off, one of the biggest killers of baby seedlings. So I'm just sprinkling a little bit of cinnamon over the surface. Then I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it in water. The water is about 1/3 deep of the pot, and you can see that it starts out dry, and then you'll notice the cinnamon gets darker and darker until eventually, when you look like that, you know that the soil is evenly moist and your seed has all the moisture it needs without being washed away from watering from above, where the seed could get moved to the side a different depth. So seed, it's at the perfect depth, it's in light fluffy soil, it's got the cinnamon on top, so it's got a good chance of surviving, and it's ready to go in the heat dome. So for me, that's a mat with, or a tray with a dome over a heat mat. So it's warm and it's humid, and that's what you need for the seed to germinate, is a warm, humid environment. Most seeds will need the warmth, but something like tomatoes, squash, cucumbers, they all benefit from that. So you're putting it in the dome, and it doesn't even need a light. They know which way to go to come up. The moment you see that seed breaking the soil surface, don't wait for big leaves. Nope. The moment it's breaking the soil surface, out of the humidity dome and under the lights. If they're T5 lights, that may be 1 inch or 2. If they're LED lights, it may be 2 feet. You should read about your lights and make sure that your plants are as close as they can be. Remember, that's from the top of the plant, not the surface of the table or the floor that they're sitting on. So if it's 2 feet, top of the plant, the lights. So then they're going to be growing there, they're happy. When to pot up? Generally, when the plant is bigger than the size of the pot. Pot it up to another pot. You don't want to overwater seedlings, especially tomatoes. They can get edema, which is from too much water, too high humidity. So you could continue by watering from below. Ideally, the soil surface stays dry the whole time they're growing. That'll help prevent things like damping off. If you do water, maybe water in the morning so it's warmer and there's more airflow. Speaking of airflow, I have 3 different grow areas in my house, and each one has a fan. Airflow is really important. You don't want moist leaves, just like we grow our tomatoes under cover in the garden so they don't get rain and moist leaves. You want everything having nice airflow, and a little bit of airflow will actually help strengthen the stem of the plant too. So then you want to harden off your seedlings. That's getting them used to living outdoors. You're doing that a couple hours at a time, getting them used to the sun, the wind, the rain. Maybe you start putting them in the shade, a couple of hours of sun a day, and eventually they go out in the garden. And there you go. That's it. That's how I start seeds. I've had a lot of success with this method. I start 90% of my seeds indoors this way. Have a large garden. I'll show you some photos now. Thank you for joining me, and I really hope this helps you.